Are you ready for our word problem of the day? Go ahead and get yours set up and then we'll get started. Okay, so today's is a cute little story. We have Beans was having a party for 17 of his puppy friends. He already invited some friends. He has 12 more invitations to send. How many puppy friends did he already invite? So what we're going to do is we're going to use cubs. So we're going to write our C, U, B, and S on the side. And then what we're going to do is we're going to circle our numbers. So the obvious numbers are 17 of his friends, and he has 12 invitations to send. But did you hear the other word that means a number? I hope you heard the word sum, right? Because that's going to turn into a number, and that's actually what we're trying to figure out. So let's go ahead and cross off our C. Now, if we read our question, it says, how many puppy friends did he already invite? So I want you to see that I'm underlining already, because that means that we're trying to figure out how many he gave invitations to, okay? So let's cross this out. Now we're going to, we'll go ahead and box the question. So here we are, we're going to box our question. Cross off the B, and now we can go ahead and solve our problem. So my question is, what number are we going to start with? Are we going to start with a 17 or are we going to start with a 12? That's right. If you said 17, that's exactly what we're going to do, because it says he's having a party for 17 of his friends. So we have to start with the 17. So let's go ahead and draw 17. We're going to use the 10 frame. So remember, 17 is 10, 7. Good job. So we're going to do 5 on top, 5 on the bottom to make our 10, put our box around it. Now remember, when we do our 7 on the outside, it's going to be 5 on top again, and then the 2 on the bottom. So there's 17. Now, we know in our question, it says he has 12 more invitations to send. So if we take that part out of the 17, then that should leave us with what we have left. Now, today is a little different because we're taking out a bigger number, and I want to show you the easy way to do it. I want you to think about something. How do we make 12? That's right, we make it 10 and 2. So why couldn't I take 10 and then 2 out? Just like that. Do you see how I did that? I took the whole 10 out at once, and then I took my 2 out here. So what do I have left? I have 5 left. And there's your answer there, 5. Pretty neat how I did that, right? Because again, you're trying to think of numbers as 10s and 1s. And we knew that 10, 2 is 12, and we can just take the 10 right out. Why bother counting it when we already know it's there? Now, let's do our number bond. So we had 17 puppies that were invited, right? Now, we know that she had 12 more invitations. I'm going to label that M for more. 12 more invitations to send out. So how many did she already invite? Well, we could do it one of two ways. We can punch 17 and count backwards 12, but that seems like a little bit much. Why don't we punch 12 and count up to 17? Ready? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. We came up with 5 that she already invited. We're going to label that I for invited. And we're going to put our 5 up here. So you'll notice that again, our answers are matching. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to do our number sentence. So let's look at what we did in our picture. We had 17. And we took out 12 because we only knew one of the parts. We knew our total, which was 17. We knew one of the parts, which was 12. We just didn't know the other part, and that's what left us with 5. And I want you to go ahead and put a box around your answer to remind you to put it in this box. And again, I know I say this every day, but make sure that we're not just filling these in ahead of time. We want to fill them in as we go. So, how many invitations did he already send? He sent, and we're going to put 5, right, because it's got to match up here, invitations. And that, my friends, is a complete answer. And we can go ahead and cross off our S. Today we're going to jump right into our lesson. What I want us to do is take a look at adding two-digit numbers, but we're going to use the good old-fashioned way to do it. And I want to draw your attention today to the problems that I have on the board. I want you to notice that the smaller number is first. So here I have 18 plus 31, and here I have 19 plus 23. You'll notice that the smaller number is first. Does it matter if the smaller number is first? No, it doesn't. And I'm going to show you why that doesn't matter. Now, you could do it both ways. So if I was to write this, I could write 18 plus 31, or I could even switch it around and put 31 plus 18. But I want to show you today how it can work both ways. So right here, I'm going to put 18 and I'm going to put 31. I'm going to draw my line down the middle. I'm going to put my box here and my plus sign. So I set up my problem so that everything is lined up, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want to always make sure that your problem is lined up the way it's supposed to be. So now, you remember, we start with our ones, right? So these are my ones, and I'm going to add them. 8 plus 1 more. What's 1 more than 8? You're right, it's 9. Now, here's the question. Do I write down 9 here? Do I have to use this box? Remember, if it's a two-digit number, then I have to use the box. If it's a one-digit number, like the number 9, I don't. So I'm going to put my 9 here, and I'm going to cross off the box because I don't need that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add 1 plus 3, or I can do 3 plus 1, and I'm going to come up with the answer of 4. So my answer is 49. But what I want to show you is this. I want to show you that it doesn't matter which way we do it. So now I have 18 plus 31. Remember, I could do the switcheroo. I can do 31 plus 18. It's totally up to you which way you want to do it. But again, I think I'm going to come up with the same answer. Let's check it out. What's 1 plus 8? Or I could say 8 plus 1. That is still 9. Remember, it's a one-digit number, so I don't have to use this. Now what's 3 plus 1 more? 4. So again, it doesn't matter which order you use them in as long as you have the right numbers that you're writing down. Now, let's take a look over here. We have 19 plus 23. So I'm going to write 19 plus 23. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my line down the middle, so I separate my 10s and 1s, and I'm going to make sure I have my box here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with my 1s. What is 9 plus 3? Now this is where your mathematical thinking needs to come into play. You need to say to yourself, well, I know 10 3 is 13. So 9 plus 3 has to be 1 less because 9 is 1 less than 10. So it's got to be 12. So hear that again. 10 3 is 13. So 9 3 has to be 12. And let's prove it. 9, 10, 11, 12. It is 12. So it's a two-digit number. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to put our 1 here and our 2 here. Because remember, 12 is 1 10 and 2 1s. Now I'm going to connect my 2 here. What's 1 plus 1? Right, that's 2. Now we have to add it to the number we didn't use. 2 plus that 2. 2 plus 2 is 4. So my answer is 42. And again, I could switch it around. I could have done this, 23 plus 19. And again, I'm going to draw it just like I did here, and nothing's going to change. I said 3 plus 9, or 9 plus 3 is going to be 12, so I'm going to put the 1 here and the 2 here. Now I have to connect these two. 1 plus 2 is 3. 3 plus the number I didn't use is 4. Look, I came up with the same answer, 42. So what I want you to do is make sure that you're paying close attention when it's time to do these problems. Make sure that you're lining them up correctly, making sure that you have your box ready and available to you because you might need it. You might not need it, but that's okay. I'd rather you have it there and stay organized because in math you have to be organized. If you're not, your answers are going to be all over the place. So be patient with yourselves and hang on, we're going to do our homework. Your homework today is going to be on page 107 and 108. Now, I really need you to listen to the page numbers because we're going to start skipping around in the book a little bit, which you've noticed that we have already. And we have one more day in this book, so don't just ditch the book once you think you're done because we have a couple of pages we have to go back to. So, page 107 and 108. And I chose two problems today. One of them, we're going to use the box, one we're not. So let's take a quick peek at it. So we're going to start on page 107, and we're going to look at letter A. So letter A says 13 plus 12. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite that problem. So I'm going to go right underneath it, and I'm going to write 13 plus 12. I'm going to draw my box. I'm going to draw my line down the middle. So what I need to do is add the ones first, right? So these are my ones. So I have 3 plus 2 more. Hopefully by now, in your heads, you know that that's 5. You can count it in your head. You can just know it. With math facts, you just have to know them, unfortunately. It's like one of those things you have to almost see so many times that it just gets in your memory. So 3, 4, 5. So I have 5, which is a one-digit number. So if I have a one-digit number, do I have to use this box? No, I don't. Now I can just go ahead and add 1 plus 1, which is 2. So my answer is 25. Now, I want you to look at something really quick on this one. So when I'm looking at it like this, in my head, I automatically look and I go, I'm looking at my ones and I have a 3 and a 2. I already in my head know that that's going to be less than 9, or I should say less than 10. And so I know that I could probably add this in my head. I have 1 10 and 1 10, which is 2 10s, and then 3 1s and 2 1s, which is 5 1s. So I probably didn't even need to do this because in my head I've already looked at it before I got started with this. Now, let's take a look at letter H. Now letter H, again, this is on page 108, and this is 16 plus 17. Now, again, I told you in the last part that the smaller number can come first. It doesn't matter. So we're going to put 16 plus 17, and we're going to draw our line, and we're going to draw our box. Okay? Now, I need to figure out what 6 plus 7 is. Now again, I told you last time with the 10s, we could actually figure out what an answer is. With this one, we can think of our doubles facts. You should know 7 plus 7 is 14. So if 7 plus 7 is 14, 7 plus 6 must be one less, which is 13. Do you see how I'm going at these numbers? You have to start remembering other patterns in your numbers, doubles facts, 10s and 1s. That's the way you need to start looking at it. So 7 plus 6 is 13. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we need to write 13, but can I write the 13 down here? No, because it's a 2-digit number. So I'm going to write the 110 and 3 1s just like that. Remember, 10s column, 1s column. Now I need to connect these two. 1 plus 1 is 2, but we can't forget about this one. 2 plus 1 more equals 3. So my answer is 33. And that's how you complete those problems. So remember, rewrite your problem. Make sure you have your box available to you on each problem. Remember, if it's a 1-digit number, then you don't need the box. But if it's a 2-digit number, you do need to use the box because you have to put your 10s over there. So page 107 and 108, make sure that you have your parents send us pictures of them. And if there's any problems, please let us know. I'll see you tomorrow.